idea here is to focus on long-term sustainability.
By not following the right diet or the right lifestyle, you are basically creating an unfavorable environment internally. Anything that can disturb the sugar balance in the body, anything that can create inflammation in the body needs to be kept at bay.
Strengthening should take priority over losing weight rapidly.
It's not the end of the world. Your symptoms can be reversed, they can be taken care of, and it's just about making some changes in your lifestyle and you can really improve the quality of your life. So Sonali, I think I want to start with you, and I think the most important thing that we ought to start with actually is just trying to understand what is PCOS and what are some of the symptoms that can be experienced if you are suffering from PCOS.
When we understand what is PCO, basically it's a polycystic ovarian syndrome, right? Now here what we need to understand is that the ovaries are producing cysts. They are creating these little, tiny particles which are not normal. And this is happening because of a hormonal imbalance. There is more of the male hormone, that's the androgen, and less of the female hormone, causing this disbalance. Right? This is in lay terms without going into the technical understanding of the condition. However, now when we realize that, this has been noticed in our body through a sonography or through a disturbed hormone balance through blood reports, basically the hormone profile, there are certain symptoms which come with it, right? Which probably takes us to go through these tests. It could be irregular cycles that you just mentioned about, maybe there's excessive bleeding or there's scanty bleeding, there is repeated cycles within the same month or missing of cycles. So that is irregularity. There are various other symptoms because there is a surge of the male hormone. There is this male pattern balding or hair loss. So if you find there's an abnormal hair fall that you're experiencing in a different pattern that is, more from the temple region, not like a female balding, or you see hair coming up in areas which usually a female shouldn't encounter, like, maybe on the chest, maybe the facial, the beard region. So this is called hirsutism. Right. So that's another possibility. There's acne, which is just not responding to any kind of lifestyle change. That would be one of them where, you're realizing there's something beyond. There may be abnormal gut function, maybe bloating or constipation. These are some of the symptoms that we commonly see if you are, kind of suffering from the condition of PCOS.
Sindhu, I'm going to bring you in here and I'm going to try and, get some understanding from you. What role does exercise or physical movement or physical activity play in, managing your PCOS symptoms?
Having an active lifestyle becomes very important in managing the regulation of hormones in the body, basically. So at the same time, we shouldn't get carried away. Too much of exercising can also work in a very non-productive way. So there should be a balance. And at the same time, we should figure out what works for us. For some people, swimming might work better, right? And in any which thing, that walking or jogging, whatever that you do, yoga should be part of it at least minimum 3 days a week. Why? Because the postures that are particularly, it helps towards certain aspects like, Sonali also mentioned some symptoms it is directly targeting.
Sonali, let's talk a little bit about the nutrition aspect of things, right? Now, while superficially, I think, people do understand the do's and don'ts of what to eat and what not to eat. But when you are recommending, you're making some dietary recommendations for people who are suffering from PCOS, what is it that you tell them to do and definitely avoid?
Firstly, I think what is most important to understand is that PCOS is an inflammatory condition. Okay, there's an inflammation internally in the ovary specifically, which causes this, cyst formation. So the diet that is intended to improve the condition needs to be an anti-inflammatory diet. Now, which are these foods? These are foods which are the refined foods, something which is very high in sugar, very high in fat, the unhealthy fat especially. These are foods that we try to avoid.
The conversation is going in a great direction. What we can do is start taking up some questions from the audience, because I think the audience, wants to hear from both of you directly. Sonali, I'm going to give you this question. So Shubhangi wants to know, she says that I have an ovarian cyst and I have irregular periods. She's currently 23 years old and she weighs 37 kgs, which is very, very low. So she just wants to understand what is the kind of nutrition that she needs to take to, make her condition a little bit better.
So actually, this is a very common occurrence nowadays, when we see that in spite of the weight being below the ideal body weight, there is an irregularity with the periods, or there is a hormonal imbalance, and this is referred to as lean PCOS basically. So that is the diagnostic part. Now, in such cases, the dietary or the nutrition aspect moves in a similar line of treatment, wherein we actually understand the correct combination of the macronutrients, that is the carbohydrate, protein, and fat, along with the micronutrients of vitamins, minerals, a good amount of fiber, ensuring there is good quality protein being taken in through the diet. We need to ensure that the condition basically, one, works to improving the body weight towards normalcy, that is increasing the weight, so that the body gets the fighting capacity to normalize the hormones.
Okay, thank you. Sindhu Pooja wants to know, can yoga be done even during periods? Is there any restrictions as to the asanas that you can do or not do during your periods?
You can definitely practice yoga during your menstrual cycle. But so you should let the expert, whoever is teaching you, let her know, so that there will be some sort of modifications definitely needed. For example, we don't do much of it in our classes, because we know that there are a lot of ladies undergoing menstruation attending the classes. Because of all the irregularities and the duration of the periods might be longer, we don't want them to be missing out on classes also. So we don't do inversions. But in case you are attending some yoga class where there are inversions being done, inversion, when I say, your legs are up in the air and your head is down. So those are inversions, right? So those we would want to avoid during a menstrual cycle.
Thank you so much, Sonali. Thank you so much, Sindhu, for the wonderful session today. I think we've managed to answer a lot of the questions. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening ahead. And we hope to do this soon in the future.